G'day, welcome to Country Music World. I'm Mick.
And I'm Jay.
Today we're going to take you up into the hills of Victoria and talk to a wonderful couple of the Australian country music industry that have been at the top of the game for nearly 2 decades.
That's right, Mick. Not only are they great musicians, but they're also fantastic humanitarians, and they've been travelling the world with World Vision.
Yeah, they've also got a real keen eye for junior talent, Jay, and they're spending a lot of their time and focus now on building the careers of our younger talents.
Head on over to countrymusicworld.com.au, like and share the post, sit back, relax, and let's get to know a little bit more about Carter and Carter.
All right, Jay, so we're going to cut across to David and Merelyn, who are back fresh from being on the road again. Have we got you online, guys?
Yeah, hi. Hi, Mick. Hi, Jay.
There you go.
There you go. Welcome to Country Music World.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending a bit of your busy time with us here. It does mean a lot, and we know that you've just come back off the road. So where have you been this weekend?
We went off to Bright this weekend for something a little bit different. We're actually hosting with the tutors at a creative writing workshop. So not only were we doing songwriting, but we were actually doing poetry and story writing and anything else that you can think of that's creative to do with writing.
Let's just hook straight in and talk about the music of Carter and Carter. So first off, let's talk about Dance in the Rain. How'd that song go for you guys? And
well, that was that was a couple of years ago now, perhaps even 3 years ago. Went to number 1 for us, which was fantastic. So we haven't released an album now for 2 years. But we're just about to. We're currently in the studio and probably 2/3 finished the album, and just about to plan a video, or starting to plan another couple of video clips. So our last album was an acoustic gospel album because, as you know, we do gospel as well. But this next album is a mainstream country album again. So really looking forward to doing some more clips and having some fun.
So when you say mainstream, is it going to be the old Carter and Carter we know, or is it going to be a new David?
I'd definitely say it's definitely more like
Leave Before You Look album and To the Moon and Back album. Yeah, I mean, you progress as artists, as you know, and we've certainly done that. But we've been very careful to keep our sound because we have a unique thing that goes on with us, and part of that is that we like the warmth of the vocal and we like the warmth of the guitars. We want them to sound real. We don't want to over-process it. So we've gone for that feel. And I think that's what our fans really like, is that, yeah. And
it's very much, we did theme this album. After the Black Saturday fires, we spent a lot of time going around helping out in our own community, but also with World Vision going across over to South Africa and seeing what Australian dollars given here do over there. And so when we came back, we were doing a lot of things where music was bringing people together, but not just for a concert, but to actually do something to help benefit the community. And so we've been hooked up in more and more of that sort of stuff, and it's been fantastic. So we decided we wanted an album called Better Day that was all about bringing people together.
With that money that does come from Australia over there, what does it exactly do, Dave? Where is it going?
Well, World Vision, for example, we actually took a mascot called Paddy the Pig out on the road with us. And in the middle of the gigs, we got all the country music folks that were drinking, to chuck a few dollars in Paddy the Pig. And by the end of the tour, I think we did it for 2 tours and raised around about $10,000. Wow. Just from people chucking their spare change in.
Yeah.
Well, $100 or so goes to buying a person over there a couple of pigs and an education program. And a couple of pigs in an education program can change a whole community, as in they actually have meat to eat. And they learn to breed the pigs. There was one lady we met who'd been given 2 pigs in an education program, and she now had 16 pigs, a couple of lambs, a couple of chooks. She was feeding all the orphans in the village.
Wow. Putting her
grandkids through school, and had changed the whole community just from what we'd say is $100,
Yeah.
It must be really encouraging to see that the money that people do give here is going to good use somewhere else. I think a lot of people here get a bit, they're not really sure if they give you $100 if it's actually going to make it to the people that need it. So it must be good to see that it is.
And, we're in that category too, because everyone's got an idea of raising money all the time. There are so many amazing charities. And if you're giving your dollars, you just have to trust that it's going somewhere worthwhile. So we actually went to film a documentary for World Vision to show firsthand exactly what Australian dollars were doing. And we went to places like maternal health centre for mums and young babies, because they have a huge AIDS problem over there. So, and a lot of the men have skipped country. So a lot of the women are single mums and raising their children on their own with AIDS. So World Vision dollars, as well as some other humanitarian societies, all put together, and they built this amazing centre, literally what we would call in the middle of nowhere. But it was really meeting a massive need for these young women, saving their lives and certainly saving the lives of babies. So, fantastic.
And we saw firsthand ourselves after the Black Saturday fires, all the money that was donated by Australians right then and there. We saw it working firsthand here. So people often ask us, did that money actually get to where it is? It's still helping people today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I want to cry.
You go for it, Mick. You go for it.
Actually, I mean, you know, I've always, and there's been a big part of me for my entire life that's wanted to be able to help in this situation, but as we know, there's so many criminals around that just take you for a run, and there's charity organisations everywhere nowadays, and I've put my money into these things before and never got anything back ever again to say your money did this or did that or thank you. So I lost faith in that, but to hear this story now, it's like, this is cool, because now I want to go back to World Vision and go, okay, now firsthand I know that my money can make a difference. So that's probably something after this interview I'm going to go and look at. So thank you for that. But it's, you know, now from a parent's point of view, because you guys are parents, when you go over to Merelyn, this is probably targeted for you. I'm just going to go a little bit more on this one because it intrigues me actually. We will come back to your music. From a mum's point of view, you just said then that you go over and you help these mums, single mums looking after their kids, and probably a lot of these kids have got AIDS. Does that just break your heart, or do you just power on and you just go, look, doesn't matter what's going on? How do you get through something like that? Because even just listening to you say that kind of, you know, shook me up a little bit. I don't want to even hear that sort of stuff. So you were there firsthand. So tell me how you get through a day like that.
I think there's a couple of aspects to it. Firstly, we were pretty aware of the environment that we were going into, so we were prepared. Nothing, however, really prepares you for that kind of what I call carnage, really, because these kind of situations can be easily avoided with education. And one of the difficult things about the African communities over there is that they don't talk about sex. And they have no sex education, they don't talk about safe sex. So they're also a reasonably promiscuous society, and without the education, it breaks your heart, because you know that it can be stopped and helped so easily. The other point of it is we have so much help for people with AIDS these days, which comes down to money and access to money, and it's heartbreaking to see that these people haven't got that access, because they're living really just from meal to meal. But the pragmatic side has to kick in when you're doing this kind of work, I guess, and the thing that was overwhelming for us is that these people were the loveliest, most joyful people. They weren't whinging about anything. They weren't going, woe is us, we've got this terrible situation. They were going, hey, you guys are here, awesome, thanks so much, let's give you a concert. You know, and just how can you not come away from that going, these people are awesome, what else can we do to help? And
the singing and dancing over there was incredible, because at the drop of a hat they would sing, at the drop of the hat they would be dancing, and when you sang over there, they sat and they listened every little bit, and if you did something that they liked in the middle of the song, it didn't matter, it was the middle of the song, they were up cheering yay and all the rest of it.
They're not polite like we are here in Australia, you know, like woo!
Yeah. It's so great to be in a country where music wasn't just something that they consumed. Music was actually part of their lifestyle and part of their lifeblood. It was incredible.
Oh, gee, I think we've lost our way over here listening to that.
Yeah. Nice, isn't it?
Well, it was tricky getting off the plane, and within sort of 36 hours, I won't say where, but we were playing a typical RSL club with the pokies in the background, and everybody kind of like, you know, and we're like, dude, we just got off a plane from Africa,
Yeah.
We could change the world, you know? And it was like, yeah, that was a bit of a culture shock coming back.
And the only time you hear yelling in the middle of the song is when someone hits a jackpot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
That's a first world issue,
Or the
right?
Magpies kick a goal or something like that, you know.
Yes.
Or they get their Keno numbers come up.
Or it's
Oh,
time for
Yes.
the gambler.
I know, right? Now I got a question for you guys, and I know these two pretty well, and I reckon they're always up for a challenge, Jay.
Oh.
And I think as we look down at Merelyn and David, and I reckon they're quite easily going to say yes. You will take the Country Music World Challenge. The answer to that is yes or no. Would you take the challenge?
Yes.
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 Look at Merelyn. Bring it on. All right, this actually, Jay, I think this is probably going to be a fun one because, you know, David and Merelyn happily married. They know each other pretty well by now. How long have you guys been married?
19 and a half years.
Not bad effort, is it?
That's good.
We're gonna give you a Country Music
Still
World.
smiling too.
I know, and they never stop smiling these two. We're actually going to give you a Country Music World golden guitar for 20 years. We're going to make one up.
Okay, great, excellent,
Yeah,
fantastic. I like it.
It might be tinfoil painted gold, but it'll be good.
It doesn't matter because
If you can actually make sure it's actually made of gold.
No, it's wasn't.
Well, that's it.
it's definitely not going to be made of gold. But I'll let Isaac paint it with his
100%
gold.
gold coloured.
It'll be gold plated for sure. All right, so the rules of this game are pretty easy. There's no rules. It's so you know this one. I think Merelyn's going to beat Dave.
You reckon?
I don't know why I say that. I just think she keen too. Look, she's leant forward. She's like, come on, give it on, give it on.
You know why he says it? Because he's scared of her.
And after 19 and a half years, you're not.
Well, let me just tell you a little thing that not many people know before you issue the challenge.
All right.
Dave and I went for our medium rigid truck licence on the same day.
How'd you go, Dave?
I had a male chauvinist tutor who was like, women shouldn't be getting truck licences. So he made me do all the hard stuff, and I beat Dave by 1 point.
Oh no.
How long ago was that?
10 years.
Dave, 9.5 years of putting up with that. Because if I know Merelyn like I know her, she hasn't let you ever live this down.
She looked, mate, she had two assets that I didn't have.
I'm not.
We don't need to do the truck test, he just won.
I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to edit this now. Give David 1,000,000 points. He wins the challenge. That's fun. Now what?
Never show her what I was doing in the background while she was talking. Then, okay.
I won't, mate. I'll totally edit that one out for you, so you're safe. Not. Now, very simple. I'm just going to throw 2 words at you. At the exact same time, you've got to yell out the answer to me. Pretty simple. Right, ready?
2 words?
Ford. Yep, here we go. Ford or Holden?
Ford.
Ford.
Would you like a little bit more time to answer the question, guys?
Okay, Ford.
Yeah, this is going to be a long process if you take that long to think. You're not meant to think. You just blurt out.
There's a delay.
I realise how it's working. I've got it now.
All right,
All right.
Okay, you keeping score? The
Yes,
score
sure.
means nothing. It's just how I
The
invented it.
points are irrelevant.
All right. Garth or Merle?
Garth.
Well, I'm just going to say the opposite for the sake of
All
it.
right,
That's
okay.
fine.
All right. Well, you get extra points as we go down the list.
Yeah,
So
the thing is, you don't know what the points are worth either.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one actually ever wins this. All right, here's a good one. This is my favourite. Blondes or brunettes?
Brunette.
Brunette.
Oh, you're lucky, Dave. You are so lucky you said brunettes.
That wasn't even a hard one, mate.
I know. All right, now this is always a good one. It gets different reaction. This is a toilet paper question.
Folded.
Folded.
I didn't even have to ask it.
Wow,
Okay,
yeah,
they're
eh?
folding. Good. All right. Okay, here's another one. It's good with married couples because sometimes we do get
No
different ones.
structures in the house.
No, I know, right? Save or spend?
Save.
I don't care.
Never get enough to save it.
He's a spender.
He's a
I'm not
spender.
spender.
Look at him.
I haven't bought anything for years.
All right.
Still waiting on my birthday present, which is a computer.
Sounds like work to me, mate. That sounds like work. All right. Beer or spirits?
Spirits.
I'm a teetotaler. Ginger beer.
You should have said beer. All right, that works. We'll take that as beer. All right. Sleep in pajamas or in the nutty?
Jammies.
Nutty.
Well,
I wish.
Well, this is just what we prefer. It doesn't necessarily mean what we do. It's your personal preference. All right, ready? We've got a couple to go. Tattoos or piercings?
tattoos.
Piercings.
Dave, you're naughty, Dave. Naughty.
It's just going the opposite. It's just a natural reaction. Whatever one says, we have to say the opposite.
Well, I'm just looking at the irrelevant point score, and Dave's flogging you, Merelyn.
Oh.
You're gone.
All right.
We've got to the $1 million question.
Yeah, okay, we'll do two more. So this one's this is good for you guys. Do you prefer hugs or kisses?
What are you doing?
Right.
I'm just
think
getting
she's
up
given
on
us-
you. Hugs or kisses? Hugs. What did you say?
Well, he didn't, because your head was in the frame.
Yeah.
I was going to go kisses.
I like both.
I didn't realise your head was so big, but our monitor's like really big in front of us. No one will ever see that.
Right.
Okay.
All right, the last one. This is my favourite. Boobs or butts?
Boobs. I have double.
Sorry, what was that, Dave?
You're taking a great.
Ah.
You'll look me in the eyes when you say your answer, Dave.
In all honesty, mate, I've got plenty of both, so I'm not worried.
I don't know.
Oh, dear, dear.
He's always told me he's an eyes man.
Yeah, I'm an eyes man.
And
Yeah.
I don't. Right.
You weren't asking the right question.
Oh, I tell you, that was fun. Thank you for taking the Country Music World Challenge. I don't know who won. It doesn't really
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
It's good for a giggle, isn't it? That's funny, I tell you. It's good when we get married couples. It's funny. Now let's talk about your highlights in your career. So Carter and Carter, been around for 1,000,000 years. As bad as that sounds, you guys have been you've been all over it for so long. You've dominated the market when you were right in amongst it. And I look forward to the next album because I'm presuming you're going to come straight back into the mainstream country eyes where you belong. And tell us about some of your highlights as Carter and Carter. What are the big ones that you sit there and go, we did that already, and you know?
I still, after all these years, and all these years is 16, by the way. I know it feels like we've been around for 40, but it's like 16. I still am amazed that people will pay money to come and hear us sing.
Why does
And I
that
love
amaze you? Why does that amaze you?
Because, well, I don't know. I guess I feel honoured and privileged that people would not just come because we're someone singing somewhere, but they actually pay money to come and hear us. And I feel very valued because of that. So particularly as a songwriter, that is something that you know that you're making a connection with people if they're going to put their money on the line and come and see you. And that we're offering something that is meaningful and valued to them. And so that's been our aim right from the start, is that we can offer the world something, got something to say, and people like what we actually have to say. And I really feel grateful for that. Yep.
Yeah. I was just going to say, probably for me, the highlight is that we're actually still doing what we originally wanted to do, because so many other people that we've seen that were very passionate about their music have had to do the thing that we haven't had to do, and that's go out and get the day job to be able to make it ends meet. We've been very fortunate that our music has been able to take us through a lifetime of music, and the experiences that we've had through that have been incredible. And probably the most I mean, it's fantastic winning awards and having number ones and everything like that, but when you actually have someone come up to you at a show and say, your song actually changed my life, or your song means so much to me because of this, and it's a song you've actually written yourself, that's pretty special,
cool.
Yeah. Pretty nice. That's a pretty good answer. I like that.
We've always been nice, mate. You knew that.
That's a genuine.
It's a genuine. Yeah, good.
It is.
Good word. Genuine answer. You're right.
Yeah, because we could go and do another job and earn a lot more money. You know, we could stay home and do a day job and not trip around the place, and the balance of life would be a lot easier. But we do this because we feel like we have something to offer, and when that's responded to, it shows that we're doing the right thing. If that stops, then we should go get a day job and do something else, you know, and that's okay too. But it's a privilege to be able to do something you love, get paid for it, earn your living, and be able to keep doing it. And, you know, we've just had a very, intimate weekend in this writers' weekend, in that we're in a position where we can encourage people to pursue their dreams and to achieve some things that they might otherwise not think they can achieve. And that's simply because we've worked towards achieving things ourselves, and we understand, we've had a lot of grief in our life, and we've worked through that, and we've worked through the hard times, and we know that you can do that. And so if you can go out and encourage other people to say, you know, you've got some walls up against you and you've got tough things happening in your life, but you can be happy and you can be passionate and live out your dream.
Life without music is wrong. To me, it wouldn't be life. So I think that for us is very much when we can actually encourage people to produce music or encourage them to be creative, and to inject that little bit of, I don't know, when you hang around people that are musicians, there's this youthfulness that comes out. So, and we've got to meet some of the most amazing musicians. And tour with some incredible musicians too.
Yeah. Now, you know, talking about the touring.
Yeah, so you didn't get that.
No,
Don't worry, mate. I still remember the day you cleaned out that port cast, mate.
So do I. I still have the headache. No, you know, it's all, yeah. Look, some of my best days, I've said it forever, some of my best touring days were with you guys. We had so much fun, you know.
You're the reason we now have touring car rules. Okay? Do you want to be reminded what they are?
You just can't let anything go, can you?
No, it must be, 10 years at least since we've toured with you. But here are my current touring rules for all the boys that I tour with.
And these are the red card rules.
Yes.
Oh,
remember?
Now, I actually got a lot of red cards, which now before before you go into the red card rules, people listening, the red card rules mean nothing because I got like 40 red cards and I still got the kick. So don't let it call you bluff.
Well, that's right, but you know. So here's red card number 1. Do not dribble on Merelyn's pillow.
Did you dribble on her pillow?
No. Okay,
Yes.
that's rule number 1.
After a hard night, he's sleeping while we're driving, drooling on my pillow.
Do you know how good it is to sleep across the back seat of an old Ford Falcon? They were good days, and it was so cold. Right. Rule number 2.
No using Merelyn's toothbrush, ever.
I didn't know you knew about that. Ever. Actually, 10 years later, I'm just finding this out. All right, number 3.
Number 3, and almost most importantly, no boy smells in the car while the windows are up.
Now, they weren't accidents. They were very, very calculated, well thought out moments. And your husband can sit there and laugh, but I distinctly remember him laughing a lot back then too.
When we were around, there was always someone to blame, mate.
I was such an easy target.
And I think 10 years ago in your youth, Mick, you might have been a little less settled than you are now, and maybe a little bit more angst in those days. And certainly wild amongst that teddy bearness that you have. The most important rule that we had to impose just for you was do not use the good Lord's name in vain.
Now that one took me a while to sort out, but I've come full circle now. I'm all fine with that. But I
Sorry,
remember
what?
I remember.
I think he's fallen off the wagon.
No. No, these guys, it's funny, because a lot of people scratch their heads when I first started touring with David and Merelyn, because it's like, that combination's probably not going to work. And in actual fact, it worked really good for a long time. We toured together a long time. We did a lot of gigs, and it was fun, much to everyone's amazement, except for ours, because we just got on great. I mean, it was fun. Like, we had some fun times. But I remember out of all the times, there was only really one thing that got the hair up on Merelyn, where she turned around and I knew that the jokes were over, and it was if I slipped up exactly what she just said then, and it went from ha 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 to come here. And, and all of a sudden, my mate David was nowhere to be found. He was nowhere to be found. You're on your own, buddy.
19 years marriage, mate.
Well,
I know when to be around and when to be gone.
I know, mate, and I didn't like those times I got roused on. They were. But
and I have to say that Mick was a trooper, because there was some very early morning, cold days with no heater in the car, and we work till 2 o'clock in the morning, sleep for 2 hours, get up, drive, do a lunchtime gig. Mick would be in the back of the car, and he'd wake up and he'd go, "This is pioneer touring."
I remember that, and it was because like this old Falcon, it didn't have any heaters, the door handles didn't work. Remember that car? No door handles, the windows hardly ever worked, but there was no aircon. I don't know where it was. You guys might remember, but we played this late show, and we had a. Well, I had a late night. I think these guys went home. They picked me up on the way up, but I think I was drinking red wine all night or whatever it was, and I was full as a boot this particular night. I was as drunk as 10 men when they picked me up in the morning. It was another. David sort of just laughed and smiled and went, "Oh, wow, this is going to be a long day." But Merelyn very quickly sort of says, "In 6 hours, young man, we're on stage. So you have
sorted out.
You have this car ride to do whatever you've got to do, but we're playing wherever this was at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon." And yes, so we've got in this car, it's freezing cold, and of course I'm drunk as 10 men, so I'm just going to go to sleep. And I'm thinking, this is touring days, this is great, right? I didn't have to drive, this is cool. So I hopped under about 76 blankets because it was so cold. And I think this might have been the time I actually dribbled on Merelyn's pillow. It might be just that one time, because I was pretty inebriated, and I stunk because I hadn't had a shower, and it wasn't a pretty moment. So we're in this car for 5 or 6 hours, and I had the best sleep. Like, I had the most fantastic passed out sleep ever. But when I got up, wow, it was cold and frosty from the front seat, because apparently I had a little bit of gas, and it was a combination of beer and cheap homemade port and youth, I think. But I slept through the whole thing. But Merelyn, she never forgave me over that particular day. I got a few red cards that day.
We got to the venue, and Dave and I are exhausted because we've been putting up with this all the way. He woke up totally refreshed, had a bit of chocolate cake for breakfast, went on stage and played like a dream.
You know what? It's funny because that was such a good gig. I remember that. That was like the best gig of the tour, that actual gig that we went to. And I went to bed early that night. I had an early night that night. But these guys were so much fun to tour with, and we laughed and laughed. And 10 years later, we're still laughing about those stories. But yeah, for the people that are currently or in the future going to go touring with David and Merelyn, don't worry about the red cards. It's all bluff. They mean nothing until you do a video interview a decade later. So throw them back at you then. Now, you guys, you know, talking about those touring days, you're still cranking out the miles and the gigs as a regular, because you haven't been in the headlights for a couple of years, as you said. There's a couple of years here since a mainstream album coming out, but I mean, you're still punching those sort of numbers?
Non-stop.
Look, we are doing more travelling now than we have for a long time. We've been North Queensland a couple of times this year, up your neck of the woods.
Yep.
We've been going to Western Australia for 3 weeks very shortly. You know, we're doing out there doing a whole lot of things. We're just not.
It doesn't sound like much, but
It's
we're
not-
actually on the road all the time.
Yeah. We're just not necessarily always headlining festivals. You know, we're doing a lot more community events and stuff like that. And we'll go next year. I think we're booked to go back to Boyatbrook to do one at that festival over there, which is fantastic. But at the same time, I know that we're already booked next year to go do Camp Cobalt again and a few other things like that. So we're really looking forward to doing that sort of stuff. Hopefully, we'll be up at Charters Towers next year.
Oh, great.
So there's a whole lot of things in the wind, mate. But it's like anything. You've got to have new stuff out to be invited to some of those bigger festivals.
Yeah, exactly.
So guys, being on the road all the time, like it says here, you live on a farm and you've got 58 animals. Is that right? What sort
Yes,
of
we do.
animals have you got? Are you growing animals, or are you just?
Well,
who looks after the place while you're away?
Alpacas.
Alpacas.
yes.
Still love your
we do.
alpacas? Yep,
Yeah.
cool.
And we've got a horse and donkeys and sheep and a little cattle stud. Actually got a little donkey stud. Chooks and ducks and cats and goats. We've got the works here. It's a balancing act when we travel a lot. So somebody always turns up. We've actually got a nice fella who's just walked in actually, so I can talk about him. He is Doug. He's staying here for a month while we're in Western Australia, and we've been away this week. We have a regular farm sitter too that if we're only away for a weekend, she comes for the weekend. So again, you know, if you believe in what you do, someone will always turn up that's appropriate to look after the place, and that's their way of supporting us too, and they get a good holiday on a great little farm, and it's
And
great.
the great thing is too that we as well as doing music elsewhere, we also have barn concerts here at our place, and so it's the sort of the whole farm environment. I mean, we grow our own meat, we grow our own food and everything like that, and it's just been it's an incredible place to be, lovely place to be. King Lake after the fires took a little while to actually get back to being normal, but it's sort of turned the corner now, and we're heading back in the right direction.
So, Dave, what happened around 2007, mate? You had a bit of a health scare. Can we talk about that, mate? What happened with the tumour that was on your spine? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a tumour on my spine, and it was when I went from one day being able to walk to the next day that I couldn't walk at all. And we didn't know what was wrong, so we booked in a scan. And they found a little tumour on the spine. And what had actually happened is very early on in our career, we had a really bad car accident. So we were coming home from a gig, someone pulled out from us. We were doing about 100 kilometres an hour, and I only had time to stand on the brakes. Fortunately, everyone walked away from that. But in doing that, a little piece of a disc in my back actually came away, and my body had actually surrounded it with some fat. Over time and use and everything like that, that floated into this little thing that controls your leg, like a nerve in your leg, and it crushed the nerve. So one day I was walking fine and I had a little bit of pain. The next day I couldn't get up at all. So, and of course, whenever you hear the words tumour, the first thing that people usually think about is cancer.
Yeah.
But they didn't know exactly what it was, and once they actually got in there, they found that after they removed the tumour, I was up and happening again. But it was a scary time. Yeah, really scary.
That crash, that was 2000, 2001, 2000, somewhere around there. That car crash you're talking about?
Yeah.
That was a pretty serious car
Yeah,
crash.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the Falcon, mate. We were coming back, actually, we were still doing some kids' music back
That was
then.
another Falcon.
Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
Falcon. Yeah. And I'm glad we were in a big car, that's for sure. We were coming back from doing a kids festival at that time. We were doing some kids music still, and we had our kids in the back seat. And this guy pulled out, his window had fogged up, he saw the car across the road move out, and he decided it was okay to go. He pulled out in front of us, and we had probably around about not even 30 metres to brake. And so we hit him full on. Luckily, we hit a Toyota Hilux, right where the cab meets the back tray. That's where we hit it. And so both of the cars...
Flipped him up in the air, and he flipped over 2 or 3 times, and then landed down on top of another car.
Yeah.
It bounced off. Yeah, it was pretty.
Wow.
You know, if you could get it on video, it'd be pretty specky.
Spectacular crash, yeah. But you guys, how'd you pull up out of that?
Well, actually, to be honest, we're actually still suffering injuries from that.
Yeah.
But that's part of life, isn't it? You can't go through a shock like that and your body come out not being affected. I've had 3 years ago now, I had to have a hip replacement, a hip reconstruction and a knee reconstruction.
Hip replacement.
Not because I'm getting old, not because I had a code.
I'm going to get another red card. Hey, you said it. I got the evidence that you said it. Replacement.
Yeah, so that turned out that was actually from the car accident, and I'd actually snapped the main ligament that was holding my leg into my hip joint, and I didn't know for 13 years, so I was walking around with this hip going every which way, which, you know, buggered up my knees basically. But it's all right, modern technology, you can fix a lot of things, so, you know, they're getting fixed, and we're alive when we probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah, I suppose that's the underlining thing, isn't it? Because you hear about this crash and talking to you guys about it, you're pretty lucky you walked away from this thing, because it's a pretty serious crash. Everyone walked away from this thing.
Yeah, and the fire, the engine was pushed right up to the firewall. So, you know, there's the windscreen and there's the engine. So to walk away from something like that was amazing. So in the end, the rest is just inconvenient, really.
Yeah.
And you just get on.
I'm hearing you. Now.
Yeah, but very aware of the fact that there's so many musos that spend so much time on the road.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous thing, and oftentimes now for us, in particular after gigs, we won't drive the late night stints that we used to drive. It's just too dangerous.
Yeah, and that was through no fault of our own either. Like, we hadn't done anything wrong, a guy pulled out in front of us. So you just got to be aware, you know, we've all lost friends on the road, and I think it's just a time to remind them now we're talking about it. You just, you know, it's not something you take for granted, is it?
Well, in saying that too, we are going to come into the silly season where everyone's out on the road again, so it's probably not a bad message to throw in right now.
Yeah.
We'll just bring you back to some music for a bit.
Yeah.
What new stuff are you guys listening to? What new Australian artists do you see out there that you think are going to go the miles?
Look, we tour with a guy, Anthony Taylor, that if he ever puts his album together, probably one of the best male vocalists I've heard for a long time, and also just amazing guitarist too. So he's definitely got something, and he's very country. His stuff that he does is very country.
We work with a lot of youngies, which is great. We're always working with young people, and there is a lot of amazing talent out there. Of course, as you know, in the climate in particular, to make a living out of it is quite tricky. So, you know, I think there's plenty of talent. Whether people have got the ability to be able to put into their career, because I think what's happening now is a lot of people have to have a day job, and so they can't put all that effort into their career. And to get a career up and going, as you know, and keep it running, you've got to give it 110% all the time. So that's a bit tricky, I think.
And I'd also say that from my point of view, there's some other people like that I've been, because I do keep an eye on what's going on in the industry, and homegrown, the O'Donoghues.
Yeah, right.
And particularly, what's her name, Caitlin Casey O'Donoghue, who was just at Academy this year, and there's something real special about her. There's lots of new stuff coming out, and I like to hear new stuff by new producers.
Yeah.
Because it's that whole thing of our industry has to keep evolving. We entered a stage where for so long in country music in Australia it was just the same names over and over again, and we need new people coming through to encourage young people to get involved in the industry.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that. I really, built this big studio here for that reason, solely because I just got tired of it all sounding samey. Not saying it sounds bad or good, it just sounds the same. It just needs to be some more colour in there for me, Now, I want to actually go in on a little bit what you guys were talking about there with some advice that you would give. Now, Merelyn, you touched on the fact there before that it's hard to get a career and people are going into day jobs. Is that, for me, that's a real double-edged sword, that one, because if you get a day job, you're not going to get your bum in the car and drive to the gig. That's where your career is. Do you think people, I don't know, I can be as nice and proper about this, or I can be straight down the line like I always am and say, don't do your day job. If you think you're good enough, put yourself in the car and start driving some miles, and it will probably happen. Is that a little bit too hard, or you guys are living proof that if you do the miles, you can sustain a career out of this, but you have to do the miles.
Absolutely, and I think you have to continue to recreate yourself. And Dave and I don't earn all our money from concerts, we earn it from music. And so we're doing a lot of workshops. We go into a lot of schools now. We've developed this songwriting workshop that works. We go into schools, and sometimes we have 80 primary school children in one room, or 100 primary school kids in one room, and we write a song that they own and they feel like they've massively contributed to within 2 hours.
Yeah. And
then we might do that in a few different schools in the areas and put on a community concert. So that's one of the things. It's Writers Weekend. We go out back Australia and we spend a week with kids that are homeschooled, and they all come together and we write songs with them, and we've just done one where we've made movie trailers with them. We put on a concert at the end of the week. This is why we've not been in the commercial limelight as much. Is because we're out doing these amazing, wonderful things that don't just rely on having a single out or a video clip out or a new record. We're out there using music to enhance people's lives and enhance our own lives. And if you want to do that, if you want to be creative and not just wait for people to knock on your door, that create win-win situations for everybody, you absolutely can make a living out of it and have a great life. We have a fantastic life. It's wonderful. And the opportunities that we get because of music, we could never buy. You can't buy some of the things that we do. So we're very lucky. But you can make your own luck. And if you want to do it, go for it.
We're hearing this a lot. A lot. This is what is success in music. We're hearing that a lot. It's not necessarily number one singles and flying in a plane everywhere. It's just
what you just said right there. I look down the camera at you guys to see people that I first met however many years ago it was. Now you're the same people. You still love each other. You still care about everyone. You still talk the same stuff. A few less red cards being thrown at me in this conversation.
Give it time, man.
But you're exactly the same, and that says to me that not only you sustain a career, you sustain the life that you love. And a lot can be learnt from that right there. I like that. Like
Merelyn said, and it's looking at other things, like we do a lot of house concerts now too. That's something that's become really popular for us. Things where you're not just playing to the same, because one of the things is we need to realise country music in Australia, it's a decent market, but there's compared to somewhere like America, it's a drop in the the ocean. And from that point of view, you need to not just be playing to the same people over and over again, because you can only sell your CD once to each person, really. You need to be able to have more than that. You need to have different audiences. And that involves, in Australia, travelling.
Yeah. And we're lucky too, guys, because we do gospel as well. And country and gospel go really well together. So we really have two very distinct, but sometimes markets that overlap as well. So we find great opportunities going down that path of music. And, we're going into places all the time where they go, country music, we don't want country music. And we go in and we do exactly the same thing we do at a country music festival. And at the end of the day, we go, well, if you liked what you heard, we love it, well, you've been listening to country music.
Yeah.
And we appreciate those opportunities too, and we continue to create those opportunities so that you're always building your fan base and spreading the opportunities to bring work in.
Now, where can we find you guys? So, website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Reddit. You got them all, haven't you?
No.
All right.
We do a website.
Yep.
We have Facebook.
Yep.
And that is it.
And that's it.
Instagram. I do Instagram.
And that is it.
And we have the old-fashioned email us and just give us a call.
Yeah.
So we're very much hands-on. We still do everything ourselves. We do all our video clips and our graphic art, and everything, happens here in our home and on the road with us. So we're very accessible like that, and we want to continue to be that way.
So you guys heading into Tamworth 2017? Are we going to see you there?
Absolutely. We've got 3 shows at the Capitol Theatre this year. 2 of our own shows. So the first one's on the first Sunday, which is the big gospel show that we do every year. That is a hoot because we have lots of guest artists. It's all about the music. There's no preaching or anything. It's about good country gospel music. We've got Brendan Walmsley, Billy Bridge and Rebecca Linai joining us, which is fab. And then on Australia Day is our other Carter and Carter show. That's going to be the Better Day album release, which we're looking forward to because we get to showcase our new songs, which we're very excited about, of course. And then on the Wednesday, the day before...
Where's that show?
Capitol Theatre. All
That's
of them are
it.
at Capitol Theatre.
Okay, yep, all right.
Yep. And then on the Wednesday, the day before, we host the Shine Showcase, which is for the youngies, and that's a great event as well. And we started that, 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And as these young artists have come through, they're now taking over. They're becoming part of the band. Kiara Rodriguez is going to host it with us this year. So we're kind of easing out of that and guiding and mentoring them through that. And they do a fantastic job.
The best thing about that show is that the whole premise of that show is they get to show what they can do on a great stage with no pressure of competition.
Yeah.
There is no competition.
Pro band and, no boxing rings and things like that.
It's not a no pressure situation like that with that competitive youth value. You see them, they're different, aren't they? The shows are different. The second you take out the boxing gloves, all of a sudden the performances are a lot more enjoyable, and that's exactly what they can do. I'm glad that.
Authentic.
It's what music's meant to be about. Music was never meant to be a blood sport.
Yeah, do you think there's a certain element, we're going to wrap this up, but do you think there's a certain element that still needs to be in there because it improves?
I think that we can still award people and that people can have number 1 hits and best-selling records. I think we can have that because that's about honing your business, and it's about people rising above the pack because they're working hard and they're super talented.
Yeah.
I think we have to have all of that still. That's about encouraging people to get better and working towards goals. I think what's really unfortunate is that with some of the music shows that have been going on, it's become very trite. When you've got people sitting on chairs in a boxing ring and they've got to sing off each other and knock each other off the chair, that, I don't know, call me crazy, but it doesn't seem like music to me. It doesn't seem like we're allowing people to show who they are as artists. We want authenticity. We want to tell the stories of our generation, because it's culture for us. Music is culture. But I don't see a lot of culture in some of those shows that it's all about, being bitchy and carrying on and who can we, what can we say about those people to get them out and,
well,
it's not my thing.
It's hyping up a story, isn't it, before the music. You hear these stories with these kids that didn't get into the top 20 or 50 or 100, and they're saying my story wasn't good enough to get to the second producer. That's pretty bad. That's not a good result.
And look, the thing is, you look at all throughout history of music, Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and people will say, well, which one do you think is better? It depends which sort of music you liked, that sort of thing. Who's the better guitarist? Jimi Hendrix, Joe Satriani, Eric Clapton?
Yeah.
It depends what you like. So music can't really be judged as that's the best. That's what I prefer.
And let's encourage our young artists and not crush them.
Yeah, touche to that. I think that's how we're going to leave it. David and Merelyn, it has been a pleasure to talk to you guys. I love you guys. I've always loved you guys, and we do thank you for spending a good chunk of your day, which has been really good. And I think there's a lot of great value in this interview. Absolutely. On behalf of Jay and myself and everyone in the country music world, we wish you all the best, and we're going to welcome you back next year with your new album. This is exciting, and we're going to catch you guys in Tamworth and have a cuddle.
Lovely.
Sounds great.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thanks for having us.
See you guys. Did you like that interview and want to see some more just like it? Then check them out right there.
We've got artist interviews. We check out the festivals that are happening in your area.
We'll have a look at the country music birthdays, and then we'll dive back into the history of Australian country music.
We've got the CMW Country Artist of the Week chart as voted by you, and we also have heaps of weekly prize giveaways.
So give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, because together we can make a difference in the country music world.